We're ready to start dovetail part 2. So this assumes that you've already woven in your shape and now you're ready to fill in around it. I'm going to look for where I ended the previous color, and I'm going to start using the same technique that I would use for adding a new strand of yarn. So I'm going to duplicate the pattern on these 4 or 5 or 6 warp threads, pull that through to the end, and then just kind of tuck that up under, just like you did when you added a new strand of yarn to keep weaving with any pattern. And then I'm going to continue now with my new pattern of alternating, just like I would in an ordinary tabby weave. This will get us started. I want to make sure to remember on this side I ended with an under, so that means I'm going to begin my next round with an over, and here's where it starts to dovetail. So I want to pull this string aside so you can see a little bit. So I'm going to start with an over, and then the next one I know is an under, so I want to go under that next warp thread. But at the same time, I want to catch through that little loop on the end. Let me show you that again. So right here at the end, there's a little loop where you turned to go back the other way to weave this shape. So that little loop, you want to open that up and go through it. So I was under on this side, so my first string is over, my next one is under, so I'm going to go under and through. Okay. Going to pull that yarn all the way, not too tight. Okay. Now, I can't go continuing this way, so I'm going to turn around. And I'm going to go back the same direction where I came from, keeping in the pattern. So since that was an under before, now it's going to be an over, and this last one will be an under. Oops, sorry. So can you see the pattern there? Then I'm going to turn around. This was an under. So now I'm going to weave on this side, starting with an over. Going to go past where I added my new piece of yarn. And I ended with an over. So I'm going to begin this one with an under. But here, that first strand where there's an under, I also need to go through that first loop. So this technique combines maybe a little bit of weaving with what you could think of as sewing. Then I'm going to turn back around. Since that was an under, I'm just going to count that as an over. And then I'll weave through the back. I stopped with an under. So I'll start with an over and an under, and then I'm going to go to the next strand of yarn, and it's going to be an over. So that's easy. And then through. But now I'm going to have to pay real close attention. That was an over when I caught the loop. So now I'm going to go under it, over, under. So if you're starting to think, oh my goodness, this is way too hard, I'm never going to get this, just be patient with yourself and remember the goal. The goal is to make your stitches interlock. So let's say for example that I was weaving and I came here and I just did this and I didn't interlock anything, then it would pull these strings apart and you'd have a hole right there. So as long as you're closing the gap and making sure that you're weaving a little bit into this shape, then you're going to be fine. And I don't want you to worry about it. The other thing to remember is that you do want to capture each one of these little loops. So on this side of the shape, I've got 1, 2, 3, looks like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 little loops that I'm going to weave into each time when I go around. It's going to take a little practice and patience and perseverance. And those are all really good skills to learn, even if it's not just art, it's just life in general. So keep at it. I know you'll get it.